The Digital Banking Podcast is powered by Typhone. Typhone is a dramatically better digital banking provider. Our appeal is unique. We collaborate closely with our customers and the banking ecosystem in an open approach coupled with a powerful user experience that helps get things done. On our podcast, you will hear how digital banking plays a leading role for community-minded financial institutions from the unique perspectives of our industry expert guests.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Digital Banking Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Detart. Today, we are excited to have Ianai Urwicz on the show. Ianai is the Chief Revenue Officer at Prisma Campaigns. Ianai, thanks for joining me today, man.
Hi, Josh. Thanks for having me. Really excited to join you today.
Always a pleasure. You and I probably talk, 4 times a week anyway, so we might as well just grab one of those on recording. To give our audience a little bit of background on yourself, can you tell us about some of your past experience and what your day-to-day work life is like at Prisma?
Yeah, sure. So let's start from where I am. So actually, as you can see, my strange name, Ianai, I was born in Israel, tiny kibbutz out there. It's like agriculture cooperative in Israel. Then I moved to Latin America when I was a child. And I spent most of my time in really a cool country called Urwicz out there in South America. So in terms of where I work, started my career on the telecom industry. Then I work for companies like AT&T Mobile, but also not only in the US, but also in Latin America. Then I moved to mobile payment, then to the fintech ecosystem. And finally, I led into Prisma Campaigns where I am today.
That's awesome. We definitely want to talk more about some of that. For those folks who may not be too familiar with Prisma, can you tell us a little bit about Prisma Campaigns and what you guys are doing?
Yeah, sure. So we are a startup, a young company. Prisma Campaign, it's actually an omni-channel marketing tool specifically designed and engineered for a financial institution. We spun off from a broader company in Latin America called Infocorp, which serve brands like Santander, HSBC, among others. So we took a decision in really go global on 2017. That's where we landed in the US market. So we have been invited by Finovate to present our technology. It was really like a sort of dry run for us. At the end, we got an excellent receptiveness from different credit unions, and that's where all our story in the US started. Actually, what we try to achieve, it's what we call the Amazon experience while banking. It means to really be consistent and leverage the members' data to target campaign across different channels. And that is, in a nutshell, what we do.
Awesome. I'm going to ask a really loaded question. Why is marketing important for a financial institution?
Yeah, that's a good question. Let me split the answer in 2 parts. So what is digital marketing important for any business first? And I think it's enough to see the number of jobs and also university and careers around digital and around marketing. So if we look in the last, let's say, 10 years, so you will see that there is a bunch of different careers and jobs around digital transformation, community managers, marketing. This is probably reflects how critical is the digital marketing today for any business. And of course, financial institutions are not alien of the reality. And that's why today, and of course, with the COVID, probably as COVID hit this year, like everyone realized on our industry in banking, that it's a must to really digitize their marketing and their communication with their customer.
So when you look at specifically financial institutions, what are some of the challenges that you have found in marketing in that space maybe 10 years ago and how that's changed today?
Yeah, it strongly depends, I would say, on the size of the institution, on the state. So we found in the last couple of years really different approach and different level of maturity when it comes to run marketing. There are still out there some old school marketers that still doing like post or let's say direct mail only. There are those who started walking their first step on the digital marketing path. At the end, what I think it's very important, it's first to be consistent, to really feel or make feel your clients that you know about him what he's looking for. You are not overwhelming with offers that he's not interested. So you are not spam. And really, as a financial institution, you care about his wealth, his financial wealth, and his life overall. I think it's really how to balance your outreach communication using the digital channels and supporting your customer where they need the most of you. So this is like the main challenge overall for marketers. And then there are really a lot of different tools today. So if we look at 10 years ago, probably marketers at financial institution only did some email marketing, email campaign, and probably send some brochure to your home. And that's it. Today, there are a lot of tools that allows you to predict the member's next move, to create, or when you have the member on the phone, to really understand the journey, what is the product each member owns, what he might be interested. So this gives a lot of information and the ability for marketers to do their job well.
I think you bring a really interesting perspective to this, Ianai, being outside of the United States and having spent some time in a multitude of different countries. And as you alluded to in your background, a fairly diverse background. What are you seeing as some of the unique challenges in the United States market where Prisma plays, but also in some of the other markets that just you've worked in and that Prisma services? Are there unique challenges here? Are there a lot of similarities?
Yeah, there are a lot of similarities with what happened in Latin America. Actually, we have a few customers also in Europe, and I think it's mostly the same challenges at the end. So what I think it's the most challenging things for the marketing team, it's how to be agile in today. We all run all the day. We have a lot of tasks, not only work tasks, but also on our life, on our day by day. And we need to adapt. And the same happen in marketing or for financial institutions. They need to adapt their product. They need to adapt their message by time to time. And there is no more, let's say, a 1 year planning of your marketing initiative. You need to plan and create a marketing plan that might change on a monthly basis almost. So it requires, let's say, a sort of shift mindset and be really agile on how you create your marketing, how you deliver the product, how you communicate with your members. And that is probably the challenges part. Marketing team also to take and to shift their mindset to be agile.
Yeah, and I think we're starting to see some exacerbation of this due to the COVID pandemic, where we've lost a lot of our human interaction. And I don't know about you, but for me personally, I find there are definitely times of overwhelming amounts of information and things coming at me in a digital world, because it's the only medium that we really communicate in right now. Yeah. I'm getting text messages, I'm getting emails, I'm getting Slack notifications, I'm getting phone calls while I'm on a Zoom meeting, and then I'm getting Facebook Messenger, and sometimes it's too much. And so how, as a marketer, do you break through that and get relevant messaging to the people that you're trying to communicate to? And how do you see what challenges people are going to face in the future being able to do that?
Yeah, of course, it was a challenge for everyone also to set up. So I recall my conversation in March with a few of our credit unions partners, and their first challenge was actually to start working remote, and their completely marketing team work from home, how to really being able to manage and to do their job on a proper way from home. That was one of the first challenges. The second one, and we always encourage our clients to do, it's, do you know what happened with your clients or with your members today? Do you know how is their health situation, if they has been laid off? So simple question like this, that it's not about sales or marketing, should lead you as marketer to try to reach out to each member and understand their situation. And as you correctly said today, that the digital channels became key, and probably sometimes if the financial institution has their lobby closed, it's probably the only one channels to interact with the member. You need to understand what is the preferred channel for each member, how you can reach out without overwhelming with, as you said, with Slacks or messages or email. So if you have a member that it's fluently, he connects to the mobile banking, it doesn't make sense perhaps to overwhelm with an additional email. So you can just pop up a message, hey, Josh, how are you doing? Just wanted to check in and see that everything is going well with you and your family next time you log on the mobile banking app. So I think that it's the key role that marketing can play on today's context, but not only today during the pandemic, but in the future or in the new normal as well.
Yeah. I know you're somebody who's really personally passionate about the credit union industry and the role that community-minded financial institutions play. Where does that stem from?
I think it was from the beginning. So where I was born, so it's a sort of credit unions that gave me a sort of being so community supporter. I strongly believe on the collaboration. So I believe that when people just get together and collaborate with each other, great stuff can be done. And I think this is something on the DNA of the credit unions.
Yeah.
That's why we love working and their mission as well.
That's awesome. And now I know as we were talking a little bit before the show started, I knew we were talking about just some of the things that are starting to pop up as buzzwords in our industry, and they always seem to come and go. And one of the ones that we were talking about is just the challenge and opportunity that AI is going to bring to marketing. When you look at this buzzword of AI, for starters, what the heck does it mean? And then how is it relevant to marketing for community-minded financial institutions?
Yeah, there is definitely a lot of noise today around AI. Everyone is talking about AI and what the hell it is. So AI, at the end of the day, first of all, this is nothing new. AI has been with us for a few years now, specifically in marketing. It gives the ability to actually drill down and understand each of your member or customer on a one-to-one level and really to personalize your marketing at scale. That is, I would say, the bottom line. Something that was unthinkable 10 years ago, it's now doable by using AI and being able to talk to each of the member completely as a single human, like you have or you know them for a while. So this is, as a high level, the main advantage of using AI. Of course, there are other stuff that can be done with AI, like today with voice banking or all the chatbot. There are a lot in terms of how to simulate the human conversation, but with a robot. But specifically, if we talk about marketing, I think that the main goals achieved and what's going to probably be achieved in the next 10 years, it's really to talk to each member as a single, to really understand his move, to understand when is the right time to deliver what message. Something that perhaps we are really accustomed or we see when we shop on Amazon or other industries, that it's something that we take this as normal. In banking, it's not normal yet. So I think there is a sort of transition that our industry, the financial institution are taking to achieve that experience.
Yeah, I agree. I think one of the things that we see is the financial services space is a space that kind of has a bright red target on its back. You look at some of these big technology giants and their potential desires to move into this space. And so it's really important for community financial institutions and credit unions to be able to stay relevant and to be able to be in the forefront with their members as that one-to-one relationship that they have with them and that one-to-one relationship that they have with their community. I, for one, am somebody that is quite concerned about what happens when a small credit union closes in a small town and the people of that town lose a safe place to get loans, to control their finances, and they're resorting to just using a big box bank's ATM and a payday loan in a grocery store type of thing. How does AI and marketing help credit unions continue to be very personable and be very one-to-one in a digital world?
First of all, I think there is a need to really understand the customer or the member as a human being. And what I'm trying to say is not only about what they clicks or to track them across their channels or what is the product or service they own within the credit union, but it's more about understanding their overall behavior, their demographic information, from where they come, what is the way they think about life in general. I think when it comes to really deliver a message or even for sale or for marketing, you need to understand who is the person you have behind. And that it's quite key. It's difficult, it's really challenging, but at the same time, on today's connected world, it's really more accessible to understand each customer like it was 10 years ago. And AI can play a really key role on really, let's say, demystifying what the marketers call the persona, the different persona. So it may allow us on that job on really understanding each customer as a unique person.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense to market to me 50% off of a whole cow if I'm a vegan.
Correct.
What types of things are exciting you in the evolution that's happened in digital marketing over the last 2 or 3 years? And then what do you think is going to really get you excited in the coming years?
Yeah, so what I think keep me, as you know, I'm a restless guy, really active. So what get me or keep me excited about digital marketing is that it's something that it's really on a daily movement and shift year and year, and no one's know actually what's going to be the behaviors or the tools or the technology that will keep with us for the next years and what's not. I recall 5 years ago, people said that we will all move to voice banking and the rest will just dead. And we are still seeing that mobile, it's keep relevant. Of course, I think that voice, it's getting really good insight into the industry. And the same happened with marketing. It strongly depends on what happened or what's going to be the channel, the communication channel, or what people would like to see, how the marketing need to prepare or to deliver the message. So today with my kids, for example, they are super fun, of TikTok or Snapchat. Yeah. I sometimes try to imagine, so how they're going to be, let's say in 10 or 15 years when they start with their checking account and their first job, how they will envision or would like to bank with a credit union. Kids that, they grow up with this sort of technology. So this really excites me in learning and also try to figure out what would be the next challenge or how we can reshape our technology to serve the newest generations.
What kind of data are you guys seeing out of some of the campaigns that you've been running this year as opposed to last year? And how are people responding differently this year as opposed to last year?
In the last month, yes, we see a shift on the response rate. For example, if we took February, March, when the COVID hit, probably the open rate or really I'm not sure if it was a matter of there was not the right message from the credit unions or just everyone was in shock and isolated. But we found a really increase on the receptiveness in the last couple of months right now, that at the beginning of the pandemic. And I think at least the number I found in the last couple of months are like 2 times the average number in the last year. This means that clearly people move or go digital with this new normal, definitely.
What types of successes have you seen lately from some of the credit unions that you work with? Any aha moments of, wow, that was really cool?
Yeah, so the way we like to work with clients, and I think we share the same DNA like you guys, it's really I always say, to solve problem and not only to provide features or a good technology. So really the moment I enjoy, it's when we just sit or spend some time with one of our clients, a whiteboard, and start how to solve specific problem that they had. I recall now a few scenarios during pandemic. One of them was with Star One credit unions. So they have a specific pain with the lobby closed in the Bay Area, how to actually allow members to provide their hardship explanation and to defer payment. So we figure out with them like a quick workaround, and we allow their lending staff on how to use Prisma, that it's actually a marketing tool to really help on the operational relief. It means to provide people with a small link and a landing page, a way to communicate and not spend, like 2 hours waiting on the call center in line. So this is the scenarios we generally, when there is a fire, let's say, and we work together with the clients trying to fight it.
Yeah. Have we had time to reflect back and see any missed opportunities that we should learn from?
You mean
Yeah, just in this last year, I think we saw a lot of credit unions. For starters, it's funny, and I think every single one of these episodes of the podcast that we've done so far, someone has mentioned that when the pandemic hit, credit unions didn't really have to change. they didn't have to change from who they are philosophically, right? Credit unions are community centric. Their focus is on their members. They're not there to make a quick buck, and they're not there to grow exponentially and put 100,000 branches across the country. And for them to say, we really and truly care about you, our customer member. We care about you. We want to take care of you. We want to be there for you. When Coca-Cola says that to me, I'm like, okay, give me 10% off a Coke, like made me feel better for an hour. Okay. But when my credit union says that, I go, I know you will, because you've been doing that my entire life. So there's no disconnect for me. It's really easy to say, I believe that. And so I don't think credit unions necessarily had to make big changes. I think we saw a lot of them take some opportunity to shine, to do some things to support their members better in the challenges that they faced with having to go all digital and things like that. But have we had time to see from a marketing perspective, and not so much messaging, but maybe just the delivery of, have we been able to see where there's some opportunities that we could have capitalized on, some things that we could have done differently that we just didn't?
Yeah, I think that there is definitely a great opportunity for credit unions to strengthen their connection with their member. I agree with you. I mean, there is no need to actually change their basis, but they have an advantage is that they know very well the community. And I strongly believe that credit unions might shift to not being only a financial institution or something that hold, and they have really an opportunity to be more than a financial institution today. What I mean, it's really to understand, when you understand the client and when you care about your member, to become, sort of referral or something that it's important for me. So if I'm has been laid off, I know that I can give a call to someone at the credit union, for example, and someone will take care and will perhaps refer to me to other people because he knows the community, he knows about me, about my family. So again, I think there is a strong opportunity to differentiate for traditional banks and really become more than a financial institution and being on the day-by-day needs of their member. I see this, or I envision this as, let's say, marketplace, community marketplace, when if you need some hands for your kids with specific needs, so you know where to lock the door, or if you need a new job, you can perhaps ask a hand for the credit union. So I think that in the future, I envision the credit unions being more than a financial institution, being really a community orchestrator, let's say.
Yeah. And how does the marketing team play into that?
Yeah, so the marketing team, at the end of the day, it's the link between the institution and their members. So it play a key role in really making sure there is a clear message. So if you are changing your vision or you care about your members, to really put in words or in communication that purpose. So they are in charge in not, let's say, sending email blasts, but making sure each member really feel good within the institution and the overall life.
I'm going to put you on the spot here. I highly doubt this answer off the top of your head, but I'll be very impressed if you do. Do you know what, say, Walmart's marketing budget would look like as a percentage versus, say, a credit union? Are we as financial institutions, as community-minded financial institutions, and maybe even a more direct example, the marketing budget for Bank of America versus the marketing budget and resources for a $500 million asset size credit union in rural Central America?
Yeah, I don't have actually the numbers on the top of my mind. What I recall is that definitely the traditional retailers spend like 10 to 20 times more in marketing than any financial institution. Of course, will depend on the size of both the retailer and the institution. But there is definitely a gap there on how much they invest as financial institution on the marketing ecosystem and their communication with their customer, with what we see on the day-by-day on the traditional retailers.
So for somebody like a credit union who is not on, say, a tech startup, Silicon Valley VC treadmill where their expectation is to grow 200-300% year over year with a massive site, right? When a credit union is looking at sustainable, scalable growth through their community over time and being there for the long haul, does it make sense for them to put more effort into a quote unquote sales and marketing team?
Yeah, there are some studies out there that estimate that if you would like to really grow 100% per year, you need to invest at least 20% of your last year budget in marketing. This is like a generic rule. If we look at the financial institutions, I think there is definitely a way today to measure the ROI. So it's really simple. You can take steps. What we see, for example, with our product is that when credit unions start using Prisma, they run a first set of campaign. They can then measure result. They can see how new loan they, for example, retrieve, or how many pre-approved loan they close with by using multi-channel campaign. And that's lead automatically to ROI. So it's really easy today to measure this ROI and to see this not as a cost, but also as an investment. So I think that credit unions that already try this approach on, run, measure, and then invest, they keep moving the ball forward and investing more and more.
One of the areas that I think I love seeing credit unions invest in, and this is actually somebody I'd like to have as a guest on the podcast at some point. I have a friend who works for a local credit union who runs business development, right? So he's out and about supporting and repping the brand of the credit union everywhere he goes. He's putting on youth financial literacy seminars at high schools. He's showing up to fundraisers and charity events. That is a true extension of the marketing team as well, because he's representing the brand to potential members. How does the credit union leverage a strategy of both that and digital to create a really cohesive message? Because like you said, you can't have the message be this in one area to a member and it be something totally different in another, or understand the member in this area and not understand them in this area, or have them a part of an email blast that's supposed to go out tomorrow. Something happens today that radically changes whether they should get that email tomorrow. And how does that all play together between digital marketing delivery and actual boots on the ground, being a part of the community and representing the brand?
Yeah, I think there are mainly two things here. First of all, it's to ask more. So I think that credit unions should ask more about their members. So it's a matter of ask question. The same member might change between year and year. You may get married, you may have kids. So this is really important to understand what they are doing, what their expectation for the next. So to keep doing question, I think this is key. And second, to have technology that allows you to really communicate across channels. So if someone came to the branch for a specific concern, to make sure the message or the communication you have after that, it's consistent with what is the interaction you have with the member in the branch or the phase of the life they are facing. So I think if you have the data, the right data, or you try to understand better the member, then it's a matter to mix these two words and make it happen on the digital. So to reach out, if this is a millennial, okay, what is the channel? So we know they are always with their smartphone. So probably to push a notification on the mobile might make more sense, but to do it perhaps just once a month to not overwhelm. So there are technology. Actually, I think that the combination of Typhon and Prisma, it's actually what we do on the day by day. It's to target campaign and target messages. But it's really necessarily to first ask question and really try to keep up to date with the member behavior.
Thanks, Ianai. Any parting thoughts? We're coming to our time here. I think getting the data and understanding it, that's a whole nother podcast in itself.
Yeah, absolutely. No, just eager to understand, of course, also your vision, Josh. What do you think is going to be the main challenge of a financial institution when it comes to digitize or to go digital in the next few years?
Yeah, I really agree with you a lot that it has a lot to do with the relationship. And it has to do with truly understanding that community and that individual on a very one-to-one basis. I work for a digital banking company. I would like to consider myself relatively tech savvy, But you know what? I still, every once in a while, absolutely love to go into the branch and talk to Brady and talk to Sue and the team and see how things are going. And you know why? Because like it or not, money plays a really big role in all of our lives. And those that help me in my financial journey, they're a part of my family. And so you either get to be a part of that from a relationship standpoint or not. And I think that's the big differentiator for the types of institutions that you and I serve. And that's what I'm really passionate about continuing to support. I want to give them the tools to be able to use a relatively small marketing team, but be able to really get the brand and the message and the right message out to their members and their potential members, and be able to leverage their, human body resources to, like you said, be more than just a 4-letter word bank, and really be a financial institution that cares. And that comes in both credit unions and banks. I'm just saying the 4-letter word should be when we're there treating our customers as simply account holders.
Yeah.
But I think when we're a lot more, we're creating better, stronger, healthier families, communities, and countries and globes. And I don't know, Amber and I on the last podcast were talking about aliens, so maybe them too, if they're interested. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be great. Completely agree.
But yeah. Again, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to chat with me. Obviously, always enjoy having these conversations with you. For our listeners, let's start with a few of your favorite resources. Where do you go to get information? Where do you go to stay up to date on what's happening in our industry?
Yeah, so I'm generally looking on, some of my sources are the Financial Brand. I like also MIT Technology Review. So even though this is not specifically on our industry, they also have some banking reviews, and I like the writers there. And then it just follow some of the influencer. But I think that main source for me, it's really to have to chat with great partners like you guys to really understand the vision. I don't believe on, let's say, on magic or really read a white paper and being an expert. I think it's more about, as I said, to ask questions, to not be shy, and then really learn from the other credit unions or the other partners and share learnings. So I'm like a believer on, let's say, on learn from the counterpart.
I love that. Learning through collaboration.
Yeah.
Lastly, where can people go to learn more about you personally and more about Prisma campaigns?
Yeah, so on me personally, you can check out on my LinkedIn page, Ianai Urwicz, and around about Prisma, you can check our website, prismacampaigns.com, or on social network. So we are live on all the social network, and that's it. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you a lot
Sounds good.
for having me today. Really enjoy every single conversation we have.
Couldn't agree more. Thanks for spending your afternoon with me. And I know it's a little bit later in the day for you even, so kick off on a Friday and enjoy a long weekend. So thanks for joining us today on the Digital Banking Podcast. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you for listening to the Digital Banking Podcast powered by Typhone. Find more episodes on digitalbankingpodcast.com or subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. Typhone. Everyone builds features. Not everyone builds relationships. We build both.